We assume the history of pharmaceuticals in Connecticut began when Samson Occam was selling his Native American remedies in the 1700s in the form of written books. However, in 1646, long before Occam was selling his books, John Winthrop Jr. founded New London on the idea that it would be a place of scientific advancement and innovation.
Winthrop Jr., the son of John Winthrop, the founder of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, was responsible for the formation of the entire colony of Connecticut. As a Christian alchemist, he dedicated much of his life to researching and providing chemical remedies to his fellow settlers. His ultimate goal was to interest them in furthering and expanding upon his work. According to Allegra di Bonaventura in her book For Adam's Sake,
the New England of Winthrop's vision was an example of reform, a laboratory for alchemical experimentation, and a place of innovative enterprise where individuals could organize nature and society to a degree unimaginable in the Old World.
Winthrop Jr. laid the groundwork for what London County was to become, a hotbed of medicinal innovation and the current home of Pfizer and Sheffield, two major pharmaceutical companies. Samson Occam may not have been the first to work in medicine, but he did set an example for how healing remedies could be turned into a business. As a Native American and Presbyterian minister, Occam attempted to assimilate native and settler cultures.
He was the first Native American to publish writings in English, including books called herbals, which were recipes using plants in nature to effect healing in people. Books like this herbal were used to cure anything from a cough to a broken arm to even syphilis. Although Occam became a Christian minister, he never abandoned his native ideals to compromise his herbal trade. Occam learned to use various flora for medicinal purposes from a Montucket man named Daucus. Daucus taught him to treat the knowledge as private property rather than being commonly known throughout the society. These remedies were Occam's to do with as he wished. Occam chose to sell them in the form of herbals. In regard to his belief in the supernatural power of plants, Occam claims, "I don't see, for my part, why it is not as true as the English or other nations' witchcraft, but is a great mystery of darkness." What Occam was saying is because he was an herbalist in the Native American tradition, he believed in the spirituality of plants, and Winthrop was a Christian alchemist. And he believed in the spirituality of metals, so it was confusing to Occam that one way was right and the other was wrong.
The idea that medicinal remedies could be sold spurred the growth of a successful industry of druggists. While Occam was selling his herbals, Dr. Daniel Lathrop opened the first druggist venture. Instead of treating diseases like a doctor, druggists sold drugs for customers to use on their own, often in apothecary kits like this one. Some of the contents of the kits are predictable, such as sodium bicarbonate tablets, used for treating heartburn and indigestion. Like Occam, druggists use plants for their healing properties, filling kits with foxglove to combat heart failure, and peppermint for use as an analgesic. However, the kits also housed painkillers in the form of cocaine and heroin, and toxins such as mercury. This was obviously before users knew about the harmful effects, so these drugs were often given to children. If the poisoning symptoms from these drugs appeared, doctors would blame it on the original diseases getting worse. The Norwich area blossomed in the 18th and 19th century with druggists, making household names of Robert Greer, Rasselby Johnson, and Hugh Henry Osgood. Osgood founded the Lee and Osgood Company. In 1842, it became known as the largest, most important drug and chemical business in eastern Connecticut. Not too far down the road in New London, a dentist named Washington Sheffield was taking America by storm with his product, Dr. Sheffield's Cream Dentifrice, or toothpaste.
Dr. Sheffield was born in North Stonington, Connecticut, one of 8 children in 1827, and he moved to New London and started his dental practice. before toothpaste was tooth powder. Colgate was the largest maker and seller of tooth powder in the United States, but tooth powder was ubiquitous. Everyone made it. Dr. Sheffield and the son formulated a stable paste, and they began making it around April of 1880. And the son had perfected a way of pressing the paste into collapsible tubes, tin tubes. They were selling this first toothpaste to drugstores throughout the United States. Dr. Sheffield's son decided to advertise their new product, Cream Angelique, and he had these trading cards printed in New York City, and there were ads in the New London Almanac, and they were quite successful. It helped the company sell lots of toothpaste. Today they make ointments, triple antibiotic, their own toothpaste, all sorts of interesting and useful over-the-counter products.
Charles Pfizer started Charles Pfizer & Company with his cousin Charles Earhart in Brooklyn, New York. $500 loan from Charles's father helped the two German immigrants combine their skills in chemistry and confectionery to launch their first product, an anti-parasitic to treat intestinal worms. Pfizer continued to experiment with fermentation, and during the World Wars discovered the secret to mass-producing penicillin. In fact, 90% of the penicillin delivered to D-Day troops during World War II came from Pfizer. By the end of the Second World War, nearly 100 years since Pfizer's inception, the company clearly needed to expand, and they did just that. They opened up new locations across the country, and in 1948 they opened one in Groton, Connecticut. In 1950, Pfizer sold Terramycin, its first pharmaceutical with its own name on the bottle. Terramycin proved to be a multi-million-dollar success, convincing Pfizer to become a pharmaceutical company. In order to streamline communication and efficiency, Pfizer decided to consolidate research and development operations to a single site, and in 1960 it chose Groton to be that site. Since then, the Groton facility has been the home to the creation of numerous products from Zoloft to Lipitor to Zyrtec.
The pharmaceutical companies in New London County are still going strong today. In Groton, Pfizer employs over 3,000 workers, while here in New London, Sheffield still has its factory, and in 2014 it opened another one in Norwich. They've expanded into other products, but they still make toothpaste today.
From humble beginnings to an innovative present, Southeastern Connecticut has been an area of scientific advancement for decades, and fulfilled the vision of its founder, John Winthrop Jr. The only question we have left to ask is, what will the future hold?